plants known to man. This plant has been cultivated for thousands of years and is literally woven into the fabric of human history. This plant produces a safe, effective, and natural medicine and hundreds of nutritious as well as environmentally friendly products. Now, believe it or not, this multifaceted plant has been illegal in America since 1937. The prohibition of this plant hurts people, patients, families, farmers, and the environment. This startling lack of freedom, and that's what we're here to talk about today, this lack of freedom is ripping apart the fabric of modern society. Does anyone know what plant I'm talking about? That's right, I'm talking about cannabis sativa. I'm talking about industrial hemp, and yes, I'm talking about marijuana. The scientific name of this plant is cannabis sativa. Sativa is a Latin word for useful. So we go from calling this plant cannabis sativa or useful to marijuana or devil's weed. Who here hasn't had a loved one with cancer who's undergone radiation treatment or chemotherapy? Doctors prescribe very powerful pharmaceuticals with a laundry list of serious side effects that sometimes seem worse than the illness. Many people are realizing that a little puff of cannabis makes them feel better, improves their appetite, and helps them sleep. I was recently at a medical marijuana conference in Maine. State Representative Ann Haskell gave an inspirational talk about how her daughter used marijuana to increase her appetite while undergoing chemotherapy for cancer. At the same conference, keynote speaker and MS sufferer Montel Williams took the stage literally in tears because he was in so much pain. Montel said that he needed to smoke some cannabis to reduce the pain, but he couldn't because it was illegal. From the audience, Cumberland County Sheriff Mark Dion said, "Montel, have your medicine." As Montel took a quick puff, everyone jumped to their feet to applaud his bravery. Montel said it immediately reduced the level of pain in his feet from a 7 to a 4. Cannabis is helping people reduce their use of powerful and highly addictive pain medications like morphine, Vicodin, and OxyContin that can really knock you for a loop. Some people think marijuana is a gateway drug that will put them on a slippery slope to drug abuse. In fact, cannabis is proving to be a gateway drug away from alcohol, a gateway away from tobacco, and a gateway away from cocaine, heroin, and other debilitating pharmaceuticals. Who isn't for that? Well, apparently the United States government. Our government actively stifles research into the capabilities of cannabis. Cannabis is classified as a Schedule I narcotic, which is reserved for drugs that have no current medical use. This is a travesty and a truly heartless policy. Despite our government's best efforts, new research is showing promise in many areas, including treating Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, which is very important as our society ages. Cannabis is proving very effective in treating post-traumatic stress disorder, which many of our veterans are returning from war with. For years, we've known that cannabis treats glaucoma and asthma. We're now finding out that it may also prevent osteoporosis and some types of cancer. Over 60 cannabinoids have been isolated from the cannabis plant, with each having different therapeutic properties. It's not surprising, then, that researchers are calling cannabis a synergistic shotgun because it does so much. Incredibly, no one has ever died from smoking or ingesting too much cannabis. There is no known lethal dose, while hundreds overdose each year on seemingly safe drugs like aspirin and Tylenol. And unfortunately, we hear all too often of people literally drinking themselves to death with alcohol. Cannabis is a much safer way to reduce stress or relax after work. You don't have to smoke cannabis to obtain its therapeutic effects. You can vaporize it, which reduces your exposure to smoke. You can also eat it, make it into a tincture, or even apply it topically as a salve. 14 states have medical marijuana laws. In California, Colorado, and Oregon, the medical marijuana industry is booming, with thousands of registered patients in full-service dispensaries. Maine and Rhode Island are also in the process of setting up dispensaries for registered patients. We're close in New Hampshire. A medical marijuana bill was passed last year, but Governor Lynch vetoed it. We either need to override the veto or get a more compassionate governor. Tell your doctor if you use medical marijuana or if you think you should use it. Document this in your medical record. ask your doctor to help lobby for a medical marijuana bill. So, now you know that cannabis is one of the safest and most effective medicines known to man. Well, guess what? You can also produce a multitude of earth-friendly and healthy products with it. For over 5,000 years, cannabis hemp played a key role in human history. Hemp fibers were used to make paper, fabric, and rope. The humble hemp seed fed people throughout China, Russia, and Europe. The sails and rope used on the ships that discovered, settled, and defended this country were made of cannabis hemp. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson both grew hemp on their farms. And the great state of New Hampshire's name is derived from the Old English word for hemp. Think about that. In today's economy, we need something that will create jobs and revitalize rural America. Hemp could be the answer by creating self-sufficient communities where you produce your own food, fuel, fiber, and building materials. If you grow, process, and produce and sell a product locally, the money keeps getting spent over and over locally, creating a multiplier effect. We don't want to send our money or jobs overseas or across the country. We want to keep our jobs here. Growing hemp can help create a sustainable future. Did you know that you can actually build a house out of hemp? Just take hemp herds, the inner part of the stalk, and mix them with lime and water, and you get a strong, breathable, mold-resistant, and fireproof concrete. Hemp herds also make particle board, which is stronger and more flexible than wood particle board. Insulate your house with hemp fiber, which is better than that scratchy, itchy Pink Panther insulation. You can actually handle hemp insulation with your bare hands. To top it off, there's a company that makes hemp composite shingles out there. Finish the inside of your house with fashionable hemp silk curtains and durable hemp carpet. You can even heat your house with hemp. Hemp seed oil biodiesel can be used for your boiler, or you can make fuel pellets out of the hemp herds for your wood burning stove. Hemp biodiesel can also be used in tractors, boats, snowmobiles, cars, and generators. Cellulose-rich hemp stalks are a great source of ethanol, so we don't have to use corn. If all of this isn't amazing enough, let me tell you how healthy hemp seed foods are. Hemp seeds are high in protein, high in fiber, and high in key minerals like iron and zinc, but they won't get you high. You cannot fail a drug test by eating hemp foods. Hemp is chock full of omega-3 and omega-6 essential fatty acids and essential amino acids. You should eat hemp and not salmon to get your essential fatty acids. There are no known allergies to hemp foods. This is amazing considering how many people have peanut allergies or are lactose intolerant. Hemp is also gluten-free and cholesterol-free. There are all sorts of great tasting hemp foods on the market. Hemp milk, hemp protein powder, hemp ice cream, hemp nut butter, hemp flour, shelled hemp seed, protein snack bars, and good old hemp seed oil, which is great straight or in salad dressings. You can buy hemp foods at your local health food stores, at Whole Foods markets, and at many supermarkets. If your store doesn't have hemp foods, let your shopkeeper know how healthy hemp is and ask them to order some. You can also surf over to Amazon.com or any number of websites to buy high-quality hemp foods online. Hemp seed oil is also very good for your skin. The essential fatty acids in hemp seed oil help your skin retain moisture. They also inhibit inflammation, which is useful in treating acne. A whole raft of body care products are made out of hemp seed oil, including soaps, shampoos, healing salves, and lotions. I'm sure many of you have used Dr. Bronner's soap over the years. Dr. Bronner's uses hemp seed oil in their soap, and they're big supporters of the hemp industry. So, when you buy Dr. Bronner's, you're helping yourself, you're helping the hemp industry, and you're helping the environment. Speaking of being green, hemp is very environmentally friendly. It grows fast and blocks out competing weeds, so you don't need poisonous herbicides. You can make biodegradable plastics out of hemp, and hemp is an excellent source of tree-free paper. Automakers are using hemp fibers in their molded car parts because they have very high tensile strength and are biodegradable. These are just some of the uses of industrial hemp. More products are being developed all the time. The hemp industry is being established from the ground up, and we need help developing, producing, and selling new products. The potential for growth is enormous, but we need We need to grow the hemp in America. One of the best things you can do is buy hemp products. Unfortunately, all of the hemp products that you can buy today are imported from Canada, Europe, or China, so they are more expensive than they should be. So, if cannabis is such a great medicine, and hemp makes so many earth-friendly and healthy products, then why the fuck is it illegal? Well, in its infinite wisdom, the United States government passed the Marijuana Tax Act in 1937, making cannabis illegal and effectively killing the hemp industry. More than 700,000 Americans are arrested every year merely for possessing marijuana. This creates a huge prison industrial complex. Come here. Police, judges, prison guards, parole officers, and the entire drug testing industry owe a large part of their existence to marijuana prohibition. This is a powerful lobby that has a vested interest in keeping prohibition on the books. Because cannabis is a plant, it can't be patented. This makes it much harder for drug companies to profit from it, so they're obviously not pushing for its legalization. And for 70 years, our government's Reefer Madness propaganda campaign has convinced people that cannabis is an evil plant with no redeeming value. The real evils are in prohibition, and they are many. Marijuana prohibition disproportionately targets the poor. In New York City, African Americans and Hispanics make up 50% of the population, but account for almost 90% of the marijuana arrests. This is destroying the fabric of society and creating fatherless children and broken homes. Gang violence in Mexico and America is directly related to cannabis prohibition. Think back to alcohol prohibition, Al Capone and the Valentine's Day Massacre. Disputes are handled with guns, not lawsuits. Alcohol prohibition did not work, and cannabis prohibition will not work. Prohibition forces patients to go to the black market or do without. There is no quality control for mold or other contaminants, which is especially important for people who have impaired immune systems. There is a loss of tax revenue from the sale of cannabis and hemp products. All is not lost, though. We're nearing the tipping point. The house of cards that prohibition is built on is about to fall. The Veterans Administration recently announced that it was going to allow veterans to use cannabis in VA hospitals in states that have medical marijuana laws on the books. So if you care about our veterans, and I know you do, you'll work to pass a medical marijuana law in New Hampshire. This is especially important in considering how useful cannabis is in treating post-traumatic stress disorder. The Obama administration is also respecting states' rights and not interfering with state-sanctioned medical marijuana programs, but they need to do much more. Cannabis can be grown for a fraction of the black market price of $400 to $500 an ounce. How many medicines can you grow in your backyard? This is even more important when you consider how expensive modern pharmaceuticals are. In November, in what will be seen as a watershed event, California voters will pass Proposition 19, which will legalize the use of cannabis by adults. American farmers are looking north as Canadian farmers profit from growing hemp. Our farmers want to know why they can't grow hemp. And quite frankly, we have to stop arresting adults just because they want to smoke some marijuana to relax after work. It's going to be hard to reverse the effects of 70 years of reefer madness. We need to somehow unbrainwash people. There is still a tremendously negative stigma attached to marijuana use. In addition, people can't come out of the cannabis closet for fear that they will get fired or lose custody of their children. That's why we need laws that respect individual rights. Tell your state and federal representatives to legalize medical marijuana, to give farmers the freedom to grow hemp, and to respect the rights of responsible adults and stop arresting them. Support organizations like NORML and Vote Hemp. This is not a liberal issue, and this is not a conservative issue. This is a human rights issue and a states' rights issue. The government's refusal to allow American farmers the freedom to grow hemp and the refusal to allow sick and dying people access to medical marijuana is cruel and unusual punishment of staggering proportions. The thousands killed in drug war violence leaves blood on the hands of our elected officials and makes a sham of America's so-called system of justice. We want the freedom to grow hemp, we want free access to our medicine, and we want our families back together. How do you like them apples?